I think the only quarterback in this draft that will end up being a franchise guy in the NFL is Cam Ward. I think he can be the guy that's a franchise guy. He has great arm talent. He's super athletic. He's very dynamic. But on top of just the physical skills he possesses, what has me believing in Cam Ward when it comes to having him succeed at the next level, it's his leadership. I want you to listen to this. He was talking this week to Pro Football Talk, and he was asked about the draft and his perspective and his mindset going to the NFL. Take a listen to what Cam had to say.
The only difference between the first round and the seventh round pick is a signing bonus. At the end of the day, you got to go prove that every time you step on the field. And, you always got to remember, that there's somebody always want to, get behind you, try to catch up. So, I'm willing to, put that work in to, put myself, my family, my teammates in, good situation. And, I know as a quarterback, everything's going to be on your plate. Whether you win a game, it's your fault. You lose a game, it's your fault. I take that on every day. I'm excited to, get the journey going.
Why I love that answer so much is because that's a guy who's telling you, I'm going to allow my work to do the talking. I'm not going to walk in because I'm a first-round pick or maybe the number one overall pick or the first quarterback taken. I'm not going to go in and assume I have respect. I'm going to go into whatever team drafts me and earn their respect by putting in the work and understanding the responsibility on my shoulders. This is awesome. This is a lifelong dream, right? But it's a job, and there's so much pressure that comes along with being an NFL quarterback that he's going to put the work in to make sure he's the most prepared. I love that answer from Cam Ward. And I think, for me, his leadership and that mindset is going to be the reason why he succeeds. Because so far in college, from what we've seen at all three stops, and in Cardinal Ward, Washington State, and at Miami, that leadership, that mindset is a big reason why he's had success at all three stops. He goes to Wazoo, and in 2 years beats 3 top 20 teams, pulls off 3 upsets. He goes to Miami and engineers the number 1 scoring offense in the country. They should have been in the playoff if not for a crappy defense that couldn't get a stop against Syracuse. Otherwise, we're talking about Miami in the ACC title game, probably beating Clemson, winning the ACC, and making the college football playoff. But Miami didn't miss the playoff because of Cam Ward. That's for damn sure. He did his job, no doubt about it. So I think when you look at Cam Ward so far, the pedigree, the body of work, the physical tools, and as you just heard, the leadership, that to me is the only guy that I think will be a franchise quarterback that has the makeup to have success at the next level. Because when you look at the rest of the class, outside of him, I think there are a lot of quarterbacks in this draft class that are going to get GMs and coaches fired because teams are going to believe in them and they will be let down. I mean, forget franchise quarterback for a second here, right? We're at the point where this draft class, there's not even a clear number 2. Listen to Ian Rappaport from NFL Network earlier this week kind of talk about the draft class outside of Cam Ward.
Does seem, based on the conversations I've had with general managers, top evaluators, that it is Cam Ward right now and everyone else. After that, there's some questions, though. I mean, Shedeur Sanders seems like he acquitted himself well in interviews this week, too. His overall knowledge was good. He, of course, has talked about the change in culture. He's had 2 different places, certainly in contention to be QB2, but I'm not sure that we are there yet. Jaxson Dart and press teams as well threw really nicely behind us. Quinn Ewers wasn't asked to do a ton in college. I know teams were sort of like wondering why. You can see the way he threw out there today. He's got the arm talent. He's also got the confidence. Maybe a little more of a quiet guy, but got the confidence. It seems to me to be more up in the air as far as who is QB2, who is QB3.
So we're at the point where we can't even definitively say who the second best quarterback is. How can anyone truly believe that there's another franchise quarterback in this class if we're sitting here debating about who the second best guy is? And it's not because, this class is so deep, it's so talented. How do we order 1, 2, 3, 4? It's not the case at all. Many assumed it was Shedeur Sanders, and maybe it ends up being the second, quarterback in this class is Shedeur. But why I'm out on him is because I don't think he's a good leader. For everything we just talked about with Cam Ward and his leadership leading him to shine and have success everywhere he's gone, I'm not buying that the leadership style from Shedeur Sanders is going to lead him to have success in the NFL. When I watch Shedeur at Colorado, and I watched a lot of Colorado this year and last year as well, watching him play, I think he has bad body language. He, to me, is not a guy that can rally the rest of the team and make them believe in him. He's not to me, he's a me guy. Let me worry about my stats and my numbers and my play. I don't think he's a we guy. He's a me guy. And even this week, hearing him talk, he was asked basically, hey, why should teams draft you? And he basically goes on this whole little rant to basically, I'm a culture changer. If you don't want your culture to change, don't draft me. The thing that kept going through my mind is, did Shedeur change a culture at Colorado, or did his dad do it? Because I think Deion had a lot more to do with Colorado's turnaround than Shedeur did. He's a solid quarterback, don't get me wrong, but if you get drafted top 5, top 10, you go to a bad team, there's a lot on your shoulders to try to turn that team around. Can Shedeur go to a bad situation and help guide them out of the gutter? I don't think so at all. At all. He's not, to me, a guy that's capable of doing that. In part because I don't think, to me, he's a good enough leader to have guys on the team rally around him and believe in him. Jaxson Dart, you look at his Ole Miss career and where he, projects going forward here, he, to me, is the king of lighting up lesser opponents and then struggling against the best teams. Why would you want a quarterback that plays his worst against the best? Look at the Ole Miss offense in terms of points per game. High-flying offense led by Lane Kiffin, gimmicky, if you will. Dart was there 3 years. When Ole Miss played unranked opponents, their offense averaged 37.8 points per game. When they played ranked opponents in the last 3 years, averaged just 28.5 points per game. Almost a 10-point difference between unranked opponents, ranked opponents. Dart is not a guy who plays his best football when it matters most. When you need him to the most. Hell, Ole Miss missed the playoff this year. They're supposed to be a lock with their scheduled 12-team playoff. And they lost to Florida and Kentucky in large part because Dart stunk in those games, was atrocious. I'm not touching a guy that plays his worst against the best. No, thank you. And then finally, Quinn Ewers here, I think, is the only other quarterback that teams will use a high pick on. Quinn Ewers revealed this week that he was playing with a torn oblique. And he was basically healthy for 3 games out of 16 Texas played this year. Quinn Ewers is too injury prone to trust to be a franchise guy. Missed 2 games this year at Texas, and again, basically played 90% of the season hurt. Last year, missed 2 games because of a shoulder injury. The year before that, missed 3 games with a right shoulder injury. Hell, even the last year he spent in high school, he missed 6 games with a core injury. The last 4 years he's been a starter, he has been unable to play an entire season healthy. So now, again, as you go to the NFL and you're playing players that are bigger, faster, stronger, how on earth can you believe Quinn Ewers is going to be healthy and available? The best trait for all these prospects at any position is availability. Quinn Ewers has not been available, has not been healthy, has not been playing his best football. Why would you draft him? Why would you try to make him your franchise guy when he can't stay on the field? What sense is drafting a quarterback who's going to miss some time? It's like Tua. I bet you if you told the Dolphins back in 2020 when they drafted him, hey, Tua's going to have a lot of injury concerns, he's going to have a concussion problem, and every single year the biggest storyline of him is going to be, can he stay on the field? Will he be healthy enough? I bet you if you told the Dolphins back in 2020 that's going to be the case, that's going to be their future with Tua, they don't draft him. I bet you they go Justin Herbert and regret it a lot less than drafting Tua, that's for damn sure. Ewers to me is Tua 2.0. Injuries are always kind of the biggest talking point around his career each and every year. And I don't see, again, how you could justify that. So you look at Quinn Ewers, he has injury concerns. Jaxson Dart plays his worst football against his best competition, and Shedeur Sanders is a bad leader. None of those guys, to me, are anywhere close to franchise quarterbacks. So I think when you're looking at this draft class, And you look at, okay, who could be a franchise guy? Who should we take to believe can lead us to the promised land here and be a viable starting quarterback, let's say for the next decade? There's only one guy, and it's Cam Ward. That to me is that everybody else is going to, I think, be a bust and get coaches and GMs fired because of how poorly they play.